All dear participants, yeah. So thank you all, dear participants of SIG-III members, distinguished research persons, colleagues, friends, and fellows from home and abroad. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and night from the different time zones where you have joined. A very welcome you to join the second workshop organized by the SIG-III ASIST, the Special Interest Group for International Information Issues, is an interest group focusing on international information issues. SIG-III is one of the vibrant SIGs which conduct different programs like Cafe International, International Paper Contest, webinars, panels, and so many. And I'm glad to know, like recently we are coming up with the very exciting features, new things like research wing, which is new for the SIG-III among the SIGs. So under these initiatives, we're starting to organize research workshops. In today's workshops, how to employ theories and analyze data for publishing LIS research, we are delighted to get with us the two prominent resource person, Dr. Devendra from USA and Dr. Shafiq Ur Rehman from Pakistan. So today's workshop will be a 2 hours workshops. So dear guests, my name is Anwarul Islam, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Information Science and Library Management, and I'm a co-chair of SIG-III. And I'm expecting like Dr. Nosheen from Pakistan will join, like to conduct one of the sessions today. So I will conduct the first sessions with first research person, Dr. Devendra, with the questions and answer sessions. So now I'm inviting to Dr. Bhakti Gala for delivering the welcome remarks of these workshops. Dr. Bhakti is a current chair-elect of SIG-III and assistant professor of the School of Library and Information Science, Central University of Gujarat, India. So Bhakti, please take the floor. Please put your welcome remarks for these workshops.
Thank you so much, Anwar, and good morning and good evening to all of you. It's nice to see quite a good presence here. That actually speaks a lot for the theme of today's webinar. Actually, developing theories and talking about theories is something that I also was exposed to only after having started interacting with some of the speakers, on today's webinar series. So now, without wasting much time, I would like to, of course, not really deal with it, and I will give the floor to the speakers. We have Devendra Potnis with us, and he's the expert. I have worked with him on multiple papers, and I have seen the way he kind of, forced and the way he evolved the theories into the papers. And at the same time, I also look forward to the other speaker for today. It's going to be fascinating. I'm pretty sure everybody who's there on board here today are going to enjoy it. I welcome both Devendra as well as our other speaker. I am not sure whether he has joined us, Anwar, because I'm not seeing them.
Yeah, we'll see for the next sessions. I hope right. During this time she'll join.
Right. So without wasting the time of anybody, I now invite Devendra to start with our first presentation. And once again, a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So thank you, Bhakti, for for your welcome speech. Now I'm inviting Dr. Devendra, the research person on the use of theories and models in conducting LIS research. Let me take the liberty to narrate briefly Dr. Devendra's talk and a short bio of Dr. Devendra. So today's Dr. Devendra is aimed to talk on use of theories and models in conducting LIS research. Dr. Potnis will demonstrate how his peer-reviewed research publication in top-tier journals employed interdisciplinary theories and models for 1, managing LIS research projects, 2, proposing research questions, 3, proposing and testing hypotheses in explanatory studies, 4, proposing and testing mathematical equations in exploratory studies, 5, thematic coding, 6, conceptual content analysis, 7, open coding, 8, grounded theory analysis, 9, analyzing and comparing multiple case examples, 10, deriving hypothesis as an end product, and 11, like answering practice-based research questions. As you see how nicely he presented everything structured way so that the audience could get benefit to follow the track. So I'm now briefly narrating Dr. Devendra Potnis' bio. Dr. Devendra Potnis works ICT for development research focuses on access and to use information tools like mobile phones, personal safety, wearable devices, information resources, e-books, information systems, social media, information services, mobile money, and some of those relevant areas he has been working over the years and expert on this field. He has published research in the Government Information Quarterly, Information Processing and Management, International Journal of Information Management, IT for Development, JSIST, LIS Research, Telematics, and Informatics, the Information Society, and other reputed journals. His papers have won the Best Paper Award from ASIS&T Social Media and LIS Wiener Paper Competition. IMLS, OCLC, and LIS funded his research. ASIS recognized his service with the Member of the Year award. Under his leadership, SIG-III won the SIG of the Year award in 2021. So, dear audiences, I'm not taking any more times from you. Now, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Devendra. Dr. Devendra, is over to you.
Thank you, Anwar. I wish to thank you and Bhakti, Paul, Nosheen, Raj for planning these workshops. There is a lot of hard work involved in putting together these workshops, so I'm really happy. We have a very dynamic team in SIG-III, and I welcome all the people whom I see in this Zoom room. Let me share my screen here. So today I'm going to talk about use of theories and models in conducting LIS research. Can you all see my screen here?
Yeah, it's visual, Devendra.
Okay, thank you. So I'm an associate professor at UT Knoxville in the US. And today I will cover 3 items. The first is I will showcase or give you an overview of different theories and models in my research, then why and how did I use these theories and models and the lessons that I learned during my experience. So these are the theories. You can see they come from different fields. Communication, you can see diffusion of innovation is from communication. Communities of practice originally from an education researcher. Electronic word of mouth is from journalism and electronic media. Hofstede is anthropology, cultural dimensions, information systems, public administration. So they come from different parts of our of academia, and they are not limited to information science, but they have created value for informing information science, for advancing our understanding of information science. And I'll demonstrate some of these theories, how they created value for my research and for information science. So the 2 questions I'm going to answer today are why and how did my research use these theories and models? And basically, these are the 11 values, or these are the reasons why, how, and how I used these theories for managing LIS projects, proposing research questions, and so on. I'm not going to read all of them, but you can see overall, I use them for managing projects, for designing my research studies, for answering research questions, for proposing research questions, for data analysis, and for interpreting results, for interpreting data, and even to guide further or future course of action, future research for LIS researchers like you. Okay, so let's get started with managing LIS research projects. So this is the paper that I'm referring to, was published in Library and Information Science Research. And can you see this paper here on my screen?
Yes, Devendra, yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, so here we use a project management perspective for managing the backend of our LIS project. Now, what is the backend of any project? So you can see, I'll just scroll down. So what we mean by backend is the 7 dimensions of our field work or project. And those dimensions include scope of the project, different types of risk, unforeseen risk, tangible risk, intangible risk. How do you manage time for conducting field work or engaging with your research participants? How do you manage the human resources or your teammates, especially when your team is distributed in different countries? Or how do you communicate with each other through different channels? How do you communicate with study participants? especially if they are illiterate or if they are semi-literate. Then costs involved in the project. How do you cut costs? How do you manage the budget of the project? And how do you maintain the quality of the project, quality of data that you collect? So those are the different dimensions that are included as part of the back end of the project. And this paper covers these different dimensions. And in the front end, you can see research questions, actual field work, your interaction with the study participants, your data analysis and reporting of findings. So that is part of the front end. So this is how we had conceptualized our project. And I'll just scroll down further. These are the 7 project management principles you can see. So this is the theory that we used. These are the mechanisms, nuts and bolts, and action items here. So for managing scope, what does it mean? Planning, definition, work structure, verification of the scope of the project. And sometimes you have to cut the scope of the project. So that is controlling the scope of a project. And you also can apply these theories, these principles for managing your fieldwork. So throughout this presentation, I would like you all to think about how I can benefit, how you can apply these theories, these principles, and to your current or future projects. Okay. And feel free to ask me questions at the end of the presentation. So these are the principles, action items that we employed, and we report, how, and we didn't use them as is because remember these principles were developed in the West, in the developed world, and our project was with uh, marginalized communities who earn less than $2 a day in rural and urban parts of India. So we customized these principles. We did not use them as is. That's one important thing to remember. And we conducted this field work in 10 public libraries in Gujarat, which is one of the western states in India. And Bhakti Gala played a key role in spearheading the field work and implementing these project management principles. So we were constantly working on different aspects of this field work. And this field work included 3-hour sessions of focus group, different breaks, in-person surveys, and so on. And you can see, you can read this paper later on. All these papers are available on Trace. So you can see the benefits of customized application of project management principles. So how did we customized these principles, and what kind of benefits did we experience in return? So this is what the first application of theory is, principles of project management. Okay. Okay, so in the interest of time, I will move on to the second application. Proposing research questions. So we use service innovation perspective, which is originally from marketing literature, and it now also is used by information systems and business researchers. And this is an inward-looking perspective. While working on this project, we came across a library management article by our friend Anwar here. So that they also propose managing knowledge by looking inside, looking internally for addressing a problem. And our paper actually focused on addressing a service divide in libraries. So let me share that paper. And as I mentioned earlier, most of these publications are available on Trace, Tennessee Research, and Creative Exchange. So you can access them for free. So the title of this paper is Proposing an Information Value Chain for academic libraries. How can they improve their information services, their services to disabled library patrons using assistive technologies? That was the focus of this paper. And my co-author, Kevin Mallory, was my doctoral student and also an instructor at Western Carolina University at that time. And now he is an assistant professor at Old Dominion University at Norfolk, Virginia. So in this paper, we try to address a real world problem, and that is underutilization of information services. So academic libraries invest thousands of dollars every year in different kinds of technologies for creating a better experience for their patrons, especially disabled patrons. However, access doesn't necessarily translate into use. So disabled patrons might have access to technologies, but they might not use it. So, and if they cannot use it, or if they cannot exploit different features of those assistive technologies, then that results in the underutilization. It doesn't really return the highest, ROI in assistive technologies. So we adopted an inward-looking perspective, and this was guided by service innovation literature. We proposed 10 mechanisms or modified work practices, which involve different types of manipulations or interactions with information. You can see searching, compiling, and all. And then we propose information value chain. So this information value chain for academic libraries is a major theoretical contribution. So you can see this service innovation perspective actually guided the whole study, our approach, and also research question. I'll just skim through this article. So you can see this underutilization suggests that service providers might not always be able to meet the information needs of and create value for all patrons. So based on this knowledge, we adopted service innovation approach. And that approach actually helped us focus on people, information, and technologies, and the interaction among these key concepts. So usually when we use theories or models, we see that people try to test that model, or they try to inform that model. But here we avoided using any specific theory or model from service innovation. And we only used constructs. So you can see here, we do not employ any service innovation theory or model for two reasons. Because most of these models or frameworks are specific to for-profit organizations, partly because service science or service innovation is grounded in marketing literature, and service innovation models for non-profit organizations treat them as standalone and independent entities. So my message to you all is, whenever you want to use any theory or model, you have to be cognizant of the fact, about the context. So in the first example, we saw that we customize project management principles. In the second case also, you will see that we did not use any theory or model as is. We use the constructs. Okay, so people, information, technology. So these are the constructs. So you can see here, resources and mechanisms. So what are the different kinds of resources that are at the dispersal of libraries, and mechanisms? So how do they use it? So you can see the work practices. So work practice is a mechanism, and these, so you will see two theoretical constructs that inform the whole paper. Okay. So that is the beauty of this paper. No theory or a specific model, but only theoretical constructs from service innovation. And I'll just skim quickly. I'll go to see, these are the modified work practices. So we identified 5 mechanisms, and these mechanisms actually involve the interaction among different types of resources that are available to academic libraries. So behavioral, knowledge integration, innovation, cognitive, and integration. These are the mechanisms that we identified after our data analysis. And I'll skim and go to the end of this paper to show you the value chain that we proposed. So you can see in this value chain, we found out two activities: primary activities and supporting activities. Okay. Now you can see primary activities involved environmental scan, dialogue with partners, training, feedback from patrons, consultation and external partnership. And how can other activities like infrastructure or HR, funding, procurement, procurement means purchasing different kinds of technologies from vendors and signing contracts or even managing AT. So these are the supporting activities. They support these primary activities. And the ultimate goal here is improving information services using AT. And again, this paper is available on Trace. Okay, let's go back to my third point. So I have a number of publications that actually propose and tested hypotheses using different theories and models from different fields. So here are 3 examples, LISR, First Monday. So I'll show you one paper. And in this paper, again, we are trying to create value for academic libraries. So most of my research has practical implications, and I always aim to create value for individuals, for marginalized communities, for organizations, or for the society as a whole. And you can see here, we conducted an interdisciplinary mixed methods because it was qualitative and quantitative research inquiry. And we identified the factors that influence the intention of undergrads to use ebooks. Okay, so this study adopted, you can see theoretical perspectives from a number of fields: psychology, OB, information systems, library science, information science, and so on. Okay. And we refer to different articles and we proposed a model. So these are the factors that we identified as possible, factors that would influence students' intention to use ebooks offered by their academic libraries. And then we proposed hypothesis. So that's what it is, number 3. See, proposing and testing hypothesis. So we proposed a model, and then we so this is what we proposed, and then we have some practical implications. So you can see these are the measures. So measures means the statements that were rated by our study participants. So for instance, we can select, see this one. It is difficult for students to have much control over the things university administrators do in their office. So that is locus of control, internal locus of control. That is at the intersection of psychology and organizational behavior. So I'm trying to demonstrate here how other fields create value for information science research. Okay. So don't limit yourself to information science research when you're looking for theories or models. And then there is a whole lot of statistics here. You can read this paper if you are interested in statistics. The point I want to show you is the practical recommendations, that we provided or offered to academic librarians for increasing the use of their ebooks. So you can see lessons for libraries. So always try to create value for practitioners. And I have received so many emails so far from several library administrators, and even librarians stating that, this guidance is very useful. This data is very useful. They can use this data for requesting more funding from their universities for purchasing new technology and services, or remodeling or repositioning their services to their patrons. So this was number 3. Okay, let's go to number 4, proposing and testing mathematical equations. So you can see the earlier study was explanatory. We explained and this is exploratory. So let me go to the paper. So we use a market separation perspective, which is again from marketing. And we try to study what are the factors that influence the use of mobile money services in India. And we used Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's data that they had collected from 45,000 users who uh, who discontinued using mobile money services, or who were using it but they were not satisfied with mobile money services in India. And you can see, so why the adoption of mobile money is so low in India compared to countries like Bangladesh or Pakistan, which are neighboring countries. And you can see we adopted this market separation perspective, and it was an exploratory study. So you will see, so this is again a very rare study because most of the quantitative studies are explanatory in nature. They are not exploratory, but this is an exploratory study, and it was theory driven. Okay, so again, highlighting the importance of theory. And you can see over 45,000 responses, and we identified different separations. So you can see temporal separation, that is the ownership of SIM card. So many times users in the same household in South Asia would use the same phone, but they might have different SIM cards. So that's what this refers to, okay, temporal separation. And then income and ownership of a bank account, and awareness of mobile money services. So many people in urban India were not aware of different mobile money services. Age, gender, the usual suspects, that is social separations, and the location of residence, again, usual finding, special separation. So this is what we found in our paper. And I want to show you how we proposed these or identified these variables. And that is the beauty of this paper. So as I mentioned earlier, the research question was, which factors do influence the use of mobile money services in India? And it's use, it's not adoption. Okay, and then we test the effect of 18. So how did we identify these 18 factors? And that identification process was guided by market separation theory. Okay, so again, highlighting the role of theory in our research. So you can see the literature that we refer to is drawn from business, communication, development, IS, information systems, marketing, and social science. So again, we have not limited ourselves to information science alone. So that's the strength of interdisciplinary research. Okay, now you can see we explore the effect of location of residence. And why did we come to that conclusion? Because of all this literature that is related to spatial separation. Okay. Similarly, temporal separation. So all the literature around temporal separation helped us identify owns mobile as a variable, or you can see Numo F adults, number of adults per household, and so on. Similarly with information separation. So all these separations are the factors that influence their intention to use mobile phones were guided by a marketing theory. Okay, I'll just skim through it and then I'll show you the mathematical equation. So these are the variables. Sorry to bother your eyes for skimming so much. So, and these are the companies that offer mobile money services in India. Okay, so this is a mathematical equation. So you can see these are the variables, and we use regression because it was about use, right? Use MM, that's the dependent variable. Okay. All right. And again, as usual, we make lots of theoretical contributions and practical recommendations to government and NGOs. Okay, let's go to the next application of theory and model. Thematic analysis. These two papers are about women, pregnant women, who use vaginal birth after cesarean on Facebook. So this is a group on Facebook, and these women actually fight the doctor-centric birth culture in rural America. And I was totally unaware, I was totally oblivious, not aware of it, that there are so many women in rural Appalachia, which is in eastern Tennessee, who do not have access to healthcare and insurance, and their doctors force them to have a cesarean, C-section childbirth when these women want to have natural birth. Okay. So we used thematic analysis to identify different types of information control mechanisms in this Facebook group and different outcomes of information exchanges on this group. So let me quickly share this paper with you. So you can see here, there are over 500 new mothers or pregnant women on this group. And we identified 19 choices and 19 activities that the administrators of this group make. So this is the title, Information Practices. So information practice is a theoretical lens here. Okay. And information practice consists of information-related choices and information-related activities. And we identified 19 choices and 19 activities for controlling information. And then what are the implications? So the implications are to alleviate misinformation, hate speech, information overload, which are typically promoted by algorithms on Facebook. Okay, so how can administrators of a Facebook group can be responsible in alleviating or addressing these problems on their group and creating more value for their members? So you can see here, these 38 information practices, 19 plus 19, 38, they indicate 9 gatekeeping roles that these administrators play. And 7 of these roles help them alleviate misinformation, hate speech, and information overload. And we make some practical recommendations. So what is the role of thematic analysis? So in thematic analysis, we use information practice as a lens, as I mentioned earlier. And so you can see we identified 3 gaps in the information control literature. So whenever you use any theory or want to make any theoretical contribution, you have to always set the backstage, the context. So where is the gap? Which kind of gap are you trying to fill in? So I always ask my doctoral students, identify a theoretical gap. Why is it important to study this topic? So you should be able to know, or you should be able to demonstrate to your reviewers that this is where the problem lies. Okay, and this is where the gap is, and this is how we want to fill it in. So information practice as a lens was used, and we have justified, why did we use that lens and all. And we adopted thematic analysis, which involves these stages: familiarization with data, generating codes, searching for themes, reviewing themes, defining and naming themes, producing the final analysis. And we, as I mentioned earlier, we identified mechanisms, information control mechanisms. So these 19 choices and 19 activities, there is another table for activities. They actually helped us identify information-related mechanisms. Okay, and you can again read this paper. I have not yet uploaded it to Trace, but I can do that very soon. And you can also access it on JSIST website. Okay, so let me just quickly take you to the appendix where we demonstrate the thematic analysis process. So you can see sample codes from our transcripts led us to identify initial codes, and then we identified choices and activities. So this was a choice. How will members of the group meet? And this was the activity, choosing Facebook as an online location. Okay, so you will see there is there is an activity and choice linkage. So every choice has activity. So you make a choice, the group administrators made a choice, and then they implemented that choice through certain activities. So this is how we used thematic analysis. And I also wanted to show you major theoretical contribution. So this is a major theoretical contribution of this paper. So you will see uh, these are the information practices of VGAs, 19 choices, 19 activities. And these are the mechanisms. And these mechanisms prove that they play these 9 gatekeeping roles: founder, access controller, disciplinarian, and so on. And what is the implication? So what? So this is a so what. So when someone starts playing a role of an access controller, they are essentially alleviating information overload. Or when someone starts deleting hate speech, they actually are alleviating hate speech. So they are playing a role of a disciplinarian, and so on. Or if someone tries to uh, resolve conflicts among members, fights among group members, they are acting as an arbitrator, and they actually alleviate hate speech because there are no attacks, fights, or less attacks and fights, and so on. So again, my point is you should be able to come up with a theoretical contribution. So many times when I review articles or manuscripts, I see that people are very good at reporting their findings, but they are not good at identifying the theoretical contribution. So what is the significance of your research? And you should be able to identify your theoretical contributions by comparing your findings against the theoretical gaps. So we had identified 3 gaps, right? So based on those 3 gaps, when we put our findings, when we imposed our findings or mapped our findings on those gaps, we realized that this is our theoretical contribution. So you can read this paper later on, okay? Okay, then the next application of thematic analysis was again in another JSIS article, and this was about consequences of information exchanges. So what happens when vulnerable women start sharing information on Facebook? So there are positive consequences and negative consequences, and we found that positive consequences outweigh negative consequences of information exchanges, and they actually lead to 4 outcomes. And this is progression of outcome. Progression means so you will see outcome B builds on A, outcome C builds on B, outcome D builds on C, and so on. Okay, and we actually, so again here the lens was information grounds. So information science lens helped us identify uh, this progression of outcome. And now you will see that this paper is exactly opposite to some of my earlier papers, in a sense that here we use information grounds lens, information science lens, to inform ICT for development research and to inform value co-creation. Value co-creation is again marketing and business literature. So we inform other fields using information science research. And in the interest of time, I'll go to the very good picture that we have here, the model that we identified here. Sorry to bother your eyes. So this is the model that we proposed. Let me just zoom in. So this is our theoretical contribution. So what we found was, so people, place, and information. These are the 3 constructs of information grounds. That is part of the theory proposed by Karen Fisher and her colleagues. Okay. Now, people, who are these people? Which is the place? So we found that there is online space in terms of Facebook, and there are also face-to-face conversations, and they complement each other. They feed each other. And then information. So different stories, facts, tagging members, creating threads of conversations. So this is how the administrators and members manage information. Now, this forms the information ground. It leads to social capital. So people start trusting each other, or people start building common vocabulary, common goals, and this is social capital, and that leads to different emerging properties. So the group starts building a brand, okay, and sometimes it can lead to echo chambers, uh, and so on. And then these emergent properties lead to value creation, co-creation. So these members, these pregnant women, they create local, affordable, timely, enduring, and reliable support for each other. And they also create value for other pregnant women, other women in rural America who are not part of this group. Okay. And these are the two paths that we identified during this process. And thematic analysis helped us identify these two paths. Okay, so now in the interest of time, I will move on to the next one. Conceptual content analysis. Now, this is again a process where a certain type of theory, in this case, innovation management measurement framework, uh, guided my research, and I developed a pick list. So I'll straight away take you to that paper. So this is a pick list. So these are the constructs of innovation management measurement framework: inputs, knowledge management, innovation strategy, organization and culture. And this is the pick list I developed based on the theory. And then I identified the occurrences of all these words using concordance in the set of documents, documents, UN reports. That's what this paper is about. Okay. So you can see here, the theory guided my study. So I developed concepts and the pick list, and then I use that pick list to uh, analyze or to identify the number of times those words occurred in these documents. Now the UN calls them surveys, but these are actually very heavy, long reports. Okay. So these are survey findings actually. And that's how I used conceptual content analysis in this paper. Now, you don't have to use it in the same way. You know, you can actually, let me just reduce these papers so I can go back to my presentation easily. Okay, so another way to use conceptual content analysis is demonstrated in this another JSIS article. So Iman, my doctoral student, now he works at JP Morgan Chase. So he and I, we identified how hashtags can be used for gatekeeping of information on social media. Okay, and we use content analysis of 77 interdisciplinary studies on hashtags. So what we did is we did not use any theory. Okay, we identified 6 gatekeeping mechanisms. So what are the criteria that would define gatekeeping, or that would help us identify someone as a gatekeeper? And based on the past research, we identified these mechanisms: forming communities, broadcasting information, and so on. And so this became the benchmark. This became the guidebook. So we collected articles that are related to hashtags from different fields. And then we identified the occurrences of these concepts. So here we did not use any pick list, no software. This was totally done manually. Okay. And Iman and I went through all the papers, and we identified the occurrences of these concepts. And then we said, okay, these are the ways in which hashtags serve, or they act as agents of gatekeeping of information. Okay. So in the interest of time, I'll go to the next paper. Okay. Can someone tell me how many minutes I have?
Devendra, you can continue another 5 minutes. Yeah, Devendra.
5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll skip this open coding. You can just code papers, and we use system analysis and design perspective. Uh, skip this paper for time being. Then we use grounded theory analysis, and in grounded theory, you might have learned that you should not have any theory in grounded theory, but that's not true. We actually use communities of practice, and we use communities of practice as a theoretical framework for grounded theory. And this paper was actually nominated for the Best Paper Award in the International Conference on Information Systems. The journal editor liked this paper so much that they nominated our paper. We only found it out when we received the nomination email. So you can check this out. This paper. Maybe I have it here. No. And you can see in this paper, we proposed 4 stages. You can see these 4 stages. So how do people form voice-enabled information service systems? So, IBM basically identified gatekeepers in communities, and they started using existing communities of practice for sharing information. And then members started sharing information, and they created primary and secondary benefits. And I'll just quickly show you the coding that we had done here. So there are open codes, axial codes, selective codes. You can see. So these are the codes: open code, axial, and selective codes. So this is grounded theory. And there are different ways of implementing grounded theory. So in my another paper in the Information Society, I use grounded theory in a very different way. So you don't have to have the same type of implementation for grounded theory. Okay. And then I have compared different case examples using theories. I have also derived hypothesis as an end product. And this is a very interesting paper, very unique paper. So this is my one of the lessons learned, and that is sometimes, less known journals are willing to take a risk. So if you have anything risky, bold in your research methods, and if established journals are not willing to publish, you might want to go to these less known journals, and they might be willing to publish it. So in this paper, this is qualitative and quantitative, again, a mixed method study. And I used qualitative data analysis, content analysis, and I also propose hypothesis, which is again a rare combination. And then answering practice-based research questions. So here again, I used Hofstede's cultural dimensions to study the role of culture. So why are women not able to afford even very inexpensive phones, $12 phones, $15 phones, very basic feature phones in India? And I found out that there are different dimensions of culture that actually influence or inhibit their ability to own phones. Okay, so these are my lessons learned. So I try to stay away from theories and models for a long time as an academic, and it was a big mistake. I don't want any of you to repeat that mistake. If you wish to publish research in high quality journals, you will have to engage in these theories, different theories. Okay, so identify theoretical gaps, focus on your contributions, and do not just limit yourself to LIS research. Okay, though they can come from any field. Form interdisciplinary teams. So this is a good. You can go to my website. I can stop share, and so you can go to my website, and you'll see. These are all the collaborators. Research collaborators I have worked with since 2016 alone, okay, in the last 6 years. And they come from different fields, and they actually enrich your research, right? So, and they are also practitioners whom I engage with. So if you have any questions, if you are interested in learning, or if you want to pursue PhD, if you want to have research collaboration with me, please email me. And this is my web address. I can give you my web address. Let me stop share. Okay. Any questions, comments?
So, thank you. Thank you, Devendra. Like, I'm really impressed, like the way you did, conceptualize all the models and applies and demonstrate in the research. And the good part that I did learn, particularly from my side, is that the point you did address, like, don't focus ourselves with only the LIS field. The kind of mistake we often make, like the moment I write a paper, eventually it comes to my mind to see like best journal in the library and information science field. But the way and the kind of journal you did publish, I saw, is like the top journals in the information science field. And I'm sure like this talk and the topic you did demonstrate here will be very much helpful for the SIG-III people here who did join here. So meanwhile, I would love to get the questions from the audience. If you have any questions, anything in your mind, either you can type it in the box, or you can ask this question directly to Dr. Devendra. So we have another 5 minutes for the question and answer sessions. And then short after that, we'll go for the next session with our second speaker, please. Okay.
Okay, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So it is both ways. And in some of my articles, data informed my theoretical journey. And in some papers, theory informed my research design and research questions. So it's both ways. You need to be open and you need to keep reading. Google Scholar is a great resource. You can keep reading articles and try to connect dots. So your ability to connect dots can make a huge difference. Many of us have access to Google Scholar, but not everyone can connect dots. So build that strength to connect dots. Once you're able to connect dots in the literature, you can easily identify or come up with the keywords that will help you reach to an appropriate theory.
And Devendra, I have like one question in my mind. The moment basically I think to submit or to publish paper in a good journal, I just came under the impression perhaps I need to know the good statistics. Without having a good statistical knowledge, I even don't think of writing a quantitative paper to submit in the good journals. So how do you feel like statistics, knowing statistics is must, or with some sort of, frequency distributions or some sort of mean median mode things you can use, or you need to have a depth knowledge and statistics? What do you feel for publishing in the top ranked journals?
Absolutely not. There is no requirement to know statistics. So if you look at my International Journal of Information Management, which has the impact factor of 14, over 14, this is a purely qualitative paper. All the JCist articles, 3 JCist articles, they are purely qualitative. LIS articles have statistics, and you don't need to know statistics. Your teammates can do statistics for you. So you need to assemble a team that has those skills that you don't have. The complementary nature of your team is a good sign to succeed and publish.
So thank you. Yeah, we have another question, Devendra.
Okay, so first is relevance. The theory should be related to your data. The theory should be able to guide your study. The theory can be used. And your data should have the potential to guide the theory. If your data contributes to a different field, so one of the drawbacks of interdisciplinary research is that we fail to understand which body of knowledge are we contributing to. And I was in that stage for a long time in my career. After my dissertation, I didn't know which body of knowledge my dissertation contribute to. I published 4 articles from my dissertation, and they are into different fields, and it took me a long time to recognize that. So, that is one of the criteria. Is your data able to contribute to that theory or model? And if yes, then you can use that theory.
Okay. So any more questions? Like, let's see. Okay. As such, we see like we do not have any more questions. So thank you, Devendra, for your time and effort that you put for us. And I'm sure like the audiences will get much benefit from these talks. And thanks again for your like effort and times. Thank you. So, dear audiences, now I would like to inform you like we'll go to the second sessions with our second resource person, Dr. Shafiq Ur Rehman. We can see like Dr. Shafiq Ur joined there. Hi, Dr. Shafiq.
Yes, I am there. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Shafiq, nice to meet you. Nice to see you over there. So now I will invite Dr. Shafiq Ur Rehman to talk on the second topics of today's workshop, managing qualitative research with in vivo, that we really wanted to bring for the SIG-III audience, to show them like how to analyze the qualitative data with the software that would help the audience very much. So let me like briefly narrate the abstract of Dr. Shafiq's talks today. Dr. Shafiq Ur Rehman will demonstrate how the in vivo works for analyzing the qualitative data in research. This demonstration will lead how to set up a project, in vivo's workspace, interface views, create and navigate around a project. It will focus on data feeding, data accessing, and reading, creating notes, data coding, searching, tree map, cluster analysis, word trees, and new models. Great. So this will be followed by a practical question and answer sessions. And I'm taking the liberty to briefly narrate the Dr. Shafiq's biography. Dr. Shafiq Ur Rehman completed PhD in Library and Information Science from the Charles de Gaulle University, Lille, in France, with the highest distinction in 2012. He has more than 20 years of professional teaching and administrative experiences at various universities and academic institutions across different countries such as France, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. He is actively engaged in research and have published more than 90 research papers. Among them, over 70 have been published, accepted in peer-reviewed journals, and presented 17 research papers at various national and international conferences. He has conducted training on various research and reference management tools and served as a research person in more than 650 workshops. It's a great number. Furthermore, he has delivered on-site and online training related to 35 training modules to more than 1,500 university faculty members and researchers. It's a great pleasure to get you us here in today's workshops. So Dr. Shafiq Ur Rehman, now it's your turn. Please, the floor is yours. Over to you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you very much. I will share my screen, and please, any colleague can tell me whether my voice is audible and they can view my screen.
Yeah, it's perfectly audible at this moment. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Keeping in view of the time, I will share the important aspects of in vivo. So first, I will share the overview of in vivo so we can understand that what in vivo can do and what in vivo cannot do. So basically, as most of colleagues know, that in vivo is a qualitative data analysis software that help you to organize and analyze the unstructured data so you can ultimately answer your research questions with the help of in vivo. Many qualitative researchers are interested in evaluating, interpreting, and explaining the social phenomena. So if you have a data like interviews and surveys like open-ended questions, you have data of your literature like web page or journal articles. So you can use NVivo for non-numeric data. So NVivo, if you see the many colleagues from different sectors use NVivo. It's for all fields like healthcare, business, management, social sciences. NVivo does not support all methodologies, so I think it is mostly good, and we use for qualitative and non-numeric data. For quantitative data, we have a lot of other quantitative software like SPSS, AMOS, Smart Plus, or many softwares. One thing we should keep in mind that compared to manual coding, NVivo can help you to give you different options, so you can easily create your themes based on your different kind of sources, whether it is interview data, whether it is web page data, whether it is your literature. So you can create different themes, and you can create hierarchy of themes, and you can run different queries on your themes. So now I will explain how you can approach your research project in NVivo, and later on we will do. First thing, when you have to start, you have to create new project in NVivo. You can write any name, like how we can give different names to different files in Word or like SPSS. So you can give the name to same name of your research project. So after that, when you create a project, then you have to import your data. Like if you have data of your qualitative interviews or your PDF literature, whatever data you have, we have to import this documents or data into NVivo. And we will do after that. Then you can explore this data, you can open, read the data, and then after that, you can create codes or themes uh, to that data. Then just I will set this window so it will not later on disturb us. So after the coding, like for example, you can create your codes, major themes, then you can create sub-themes of these major themes. It depends on your data. After coding is very important step in qualitative research, especially when you are handling your data with the help of NVivo. In the language of NVivo, we call it nodes, and there are parent and child nodes. So if you are talking about main themes, we can say that these are the parent nodes. Sub themes, we called it child nodes. Then you can run different queries based on your coding, and then you can draw different kind of visualizations such as charts, tree maps, or other kind of cluster analysis. And same time you can remember your different reflections in memo form. So this is the just overview how NVivo work. So there are some key terms in NVivo. The sources are your research material, like documents, PDF, data set, or you sometimes you have data like audio visual recording of your interviews or any other kind of your sources. And also coding is a process of gathering material by topic or themes. As I earlier said that in the language of NVivo, we called it nodes. There are some myths about NVivo. Uh, NVivo is not suitable for all kind of methodologies. It is better if we use it for qualitative data and non-numeric data. There is another myth that NVivo will do the analysis for you. So we must keep in mind that in qualitative research, the software can do some help and organize your data, but it is not like what we expect in quantitative softwares like SPS, Stata, or AMOS. this software NVivo cannot give you a very sophisticated analysis as we are habitual to see in quantitative data. But again, it can give you to facilitate the researcher, because NVivo in qualitative research, you have to read your sources, your interviews, and then you can give the code, keeping in view the context and the theme of your topic. So this is the kind of thinking, and we read and then think, and then we can apply different kind of codings and then interpretation. So we should not expect the same behavior what we expect from quantitative software, but still he can organize our data, and we can create codes, and then we can generate different kind of charts and other visualizations. Another myth is that NVivo takes no time to finish a qualitative project. In qualitative data, most of the work has to be done by the researcher. So in quantitative uh, data, many other people can uh, do the analysis for you, and they can make beautiful tables, graph, and interpret the results based on your research questions. But in qualitative research, the main tool is researcher itself. So uh, if the researcher himself do all the process like coding analysis, he can give and come up with better results. So I think there is no replacement of the researcher himself, or one of the member of research team. It is better that they can do all the qualitative analysis himself. You know, in other kind of analysis, you can hire some kind of statistician, and many kind of analysis are done by some other people or a third party. So in qualitative, I think researcher are the key tool, and he should or she should involve in qualitative data analysis. Now we will go the practical aspect of our project. So when you want to use the NVivo, you can install the NVivo software. It's a licensed and priced software by QSR International. It's an Australian organization. I will share the some resources, helpful resources later on, and also the relevant addresses where you can purchase or subscribe. So NVivo trial version is available for 2 weeks. So if you can finish your analysis within 2 weeks, you can take help from trial version. But it's price software, and the price are less for academician and different kind of lessons. They have different prices. I will share the link how you can purchase or subscribe the NVivo, and all the information is available on website. So first step, when we do, first we install the NVivo software, and then when you install the software, you have this in your uh, machine, and you have to go to NVivo link, and then there are two options. One option is you can create your new project. So you can give name to your project. For example, I will give this name of workshop, or any other name we can, and you can save this project to any of suitable location, like we save other files. So you can save it to any other folder. So now after this, we can create different kind of data in import folder. So there are different kind of options in this NVivo. So we have to go into import to import different kind of documents in NVivo software, and later we can work within NVivo for coding or other kind of analysis. So first we need to import, as we do the data entry in our SPSS or other quantitative software. So in create, we can select this file, or if you have another project, you can create this in a project mean NVivo project. So for example, if you have the data like interviews or doc file or audio video, you have to select this option under the import file option. Like for example, I will import some interviews here. Yes, I can import. Then, if you have some other kind of like quantitative survey, if you have a data on open-ended questions, you can create this Excel file or text file or other kind. Then, if you have your file in EndNote along with all the literature, you can create via this option. Another very important option is encapture. Sometimes we analyze some social media content, like you can analyze the content of some website, some social media platform like Twitter or Facebook data, or some information from website. It's very easy to capture this with the help of uh, NVivo Capture option. So to use this, you have to download the NCapture add-on. When you download this NCapture add-on, you can see this link in your Google Chrome or Internet Explorer. For example, I will open some website. So when you want to import and capture the data from any website, you have to open that website and scroll down. For example, I want to go to main page about the history of our university. So I will open this web page and then scroll down. Then I can capture this with the help of this capture. So after opening the website, then you have to click this option capture for NVivo. You can save it web page as a PDF and then click capture. So now it is available, and you can see it. Uh, it's downloaded here, and then later on we can go to our NVivo software, import, and then encapture. Here we can give the paths where it is available. So all capture information is here. So we can select the data and then import. Yes. So if yes, now we can see this, whatever we captured via the website. Along with all images, it capture all the information. Later, we can use this for coding anything. So if you have a 10-page website, it is open, you can scroll down and you can capture via NVivo. The other like data which we capture, it is also available, like the interviews text or like that. So whatever the sources you imported, it is now within the NVivo and within this data file, interviews, PU web page, whatever sources you have. So after this, the creating and navigation of the data feeding, then you can go for how you can see this file or into data, or you can double click. It is viewable in right side window. And then there are multiple ways of coding. Now we will discuss how we can code. So one aspect is that we can apply different kind of queries, and then we can generate codes for that. Another way is that, which is very correct and reliable way, we can read the document, whether it is a PDF article, whether it is a interview document, we can read, and then we can select the text, and then we can generate code based on that text. For example, here the discussion is about women leadership. So we can select this text and we can, this paragraph give us information about women leadership. So we can click right and code selection. So there are three options. First is code selection, when we want to create the codes which is already available. When we create some codes, then the list of all creating codes we can see, and we can select the code which we already assigned. But first time we have to create new code. For example, I will code this. Yes. So we will go for a new code. Here we can create a folder for new code. Here, new code, and we can assign name to that code. Women leadership, or whatever theme we have, we can give this. This is just for example or practice. So we can give this name. When we click on this code selection, all our already created code list is there. You can select if the same topic or same theme is there. So it will increase the frequency, and later on we can create different kind of code. Second type of coding is, for example, now we will to another coding category. Select some text which is giving you some theme. Click on code selection. So you can select, this is about women communication, so, or any other aspect. You can assign this, and you don't need to create new code if it is already available. Some people create some predefined codes based on their theoretical knowledge on the topic, and then they can select code based on their text, and whatever the codes which do not have any kind of context, they can delete. So that is predefined code. You can create also, no problem. Another kind of coding is select the code to recent code. So whatever you give the latest code, it is available. And another very interesting option is code in vivo. So code in vivo is that you can select some theme, and same whatever word or term you selected, it will create code. For example, I will select this household aspect, and whatever the text I selected, and Vivo will, if you click on code in Vivo, and Vivo will automatically assign the name of the code is whatever the word I selected. In current case, it is household aspects. Select the text and click on code in Vivo. So it is it will give the name of. Then after that, if you you will browse and you will read your all the text, and you have created some codes like I have created. This is one of our research project of our MPhil thesis, supervised by me. So we created some codes. It was related to library leadership. So whatever the code household aspect I just created, later on when we created some code, we can review. It's very important to review the codes, because first time when we create the code, we have some duplication, or maybe some aspect we want to create the hierarchy. Some are the equivalent topics, some are the broad, or some are the subtopics, and also maybe you need to delete some of your code and you need to merge. So all these aspects we have to deal with coding review. So when we created all the codes for our intros or for our PDF text, then definitely we can review our code. Like here is the list of the code. I will just explain. This is the name of the code, like we just assigned the household aspect. So it gives you the one reference. One reference mean the frequency of this code. If we have multiple text where we assign this code more than one time, it will increase the reference. Maybe if it is 3 times, it's mean that this code has 3 references, or 3 times we coded this code on 3 different occasions. After that, we need to review our codes. For example, library leadership, library trait, most difficult part, or like that. For example, I will create some code. For example, I will assign the name leadership. Now, when I review that, there is another aspect is administration, or maybe the academic leadership. So I can merge the code, or I can rename or delete when we review. For example, academic leadership. If I want to rename this code, I can rename. I will double click and I can rename. Yes, I will go to code property and I can rename, for example, university library leader. So we can rename, or some code we think that we need to merge with another code, for example, leadership, or maybe university library leadership. If we want to merge, I will cut this. Now I will paste it. Merge into. If you click on right, we have to select the option merge into selected code. Yes, if this code has some child code or subcodes, it will merge all. So now this academic leadership or university leadership, we have merged this. So this leadership will sustain. Another aspect is that sometimes we have, when we review our codes, we have some broad themes and some of their sub themes or subtopics. So we can create a hierarchy. In the language of NVivo software, we called it parent node or child node. So node is equivalent to theme. What we talk about the theme in research in the NVivo language, we called it nodes. So for example, there are, for example, service quality. So I think, for example, if I want to make this under the another, for example, woman leader or woman leadership. So I want to make this child node of woman leadership. So I just need to drag it and paste it under the woman leadership. So it will make it sub node. You can see women leadership, and under that we can see the women leader. In that way, we can create hierarchy. And whenever you saw the plus sign, it's mean that there are sub nodes or sub themes under this broad theme. For example, perception about leadership, ability to guide, or like that, whatever the sub themes we assigned while reading our sources or our interview text or our literature, whatever sources we have. Another thing is that we can rename, we can create hierarchy, or we can delete, or we can merge the codes. So after this coding, parent-child coding, then we can read whatever the things we coded under each. So when you review your codes, sometime you have to see the text which you selected based on the text which you assign this theme. For example, this is our theme about the external challenges. If you double click on this external challenges, it will show you the source, the text. Yes, this is the text. So we have 20 reference. It means that 20 times we coded this. For example, here. So based on that text, so you can unselect if you want to delete any code, you can unselect the code, uncode, yes, you can uncode. If you want to see the whole source, you can click on this file, yes. So this is the selected text. Based on this selection, we assign this code external challenges. You can see all and review, and whatever you want to change, modify your theme or rename, you can do. But this verification and review is very much important, because when we start first time, maybe our understanding of data is not too much, or sometime uh, one or two team members are working on the project for coding or analysis, so the other team member can review also. So in case of any dispute or discrepancy, he can review and see the relevant text, and then he can correct the themes. Because whatever, if you assign the wrong themes, it's mean that your result will not be up to the mark, whatever you want to see. So I recommend that accuracy of code is we can ensure while reading the actual text. Context can be different, and the uh, other things, the all the surroundings we should keep in mind while coding the, not only the same paragraph or one line, but the similar paragraph, or maybe above or after that, we can see. Another thing, we can also do the coding by running different kind of queries. Maybe we can run the frequency query, we can run the uh, text search query. Keeping on the time, I selected some important kind of queries. So we have to go into explore. For example, one of very popular query is word frequency query. You can find the most frequent used word in selected document, then you can see and verify, and whatever the concept you can see it is, you want to assign the same word as a code, you can create within one click. For example, we will run the word frequency query. Now you have to give criteria from where you want to search. You can search from all the sources. You can maybe select from some interview text or like that. For example, if I go to file, now I will just select the interview text, and I can search the maybe top 50 most frequent word, or maybe 100, just to see and explore my data, what kind of topics are frequently discussed, and we can see, we can assign the minimum length. For example, maybe 5 word, 5 character length, and then we can run the query, and we can save this criteria. if we want. Otherwise, we can run this query. I will click on run query. Yes, now we can see within this interview text there are different kind of words, because some of our text, whatever the text of our audio recording or our original language of our participant, we can transcribe as it as. But when we assign the themes, we assign the nodes themes in English language. So most frequently word library is discussed here, maybe more than 554 times. If we want to see, we can see. We can double click. Yes. The NVO will highlight where this word. We can not only search single word, we can search the multiple words, maybe library leadership or any other concepts. So if after reading this, if you want to assign codes, you can assign code manually, or you can assign code based on your results. Like for example, yes. Yes, these are the text where these frequent words are come from these texts. All the articles or the sources, it will identify you. This is the reference. If you click on the document, you can go to the whole document, but currently it is showing only the relevant. This is the summary. Yes. I will run again and I will create code for our results. Like we will create most frequent word. We can change the maybe criteria, maybe 7 words, maybe top 100 most frequently word. Whatever the document we select, we can select all, we can select only interviews, whatever the, so I will select only interviews. And now the minimum length is 7. It will not consider those words which have maybe 6 character length or like that. Yes. So here we have our most frequent 100 words, and after reading that you want to make this as a quote. For example, challenges, click on that, but be careful that maybe some of the context is not relevant, so it's better to read and then create code based on the context. So create as a code. Yes, we can create codes. Yes, we can give the name of this code to library, maybe university library or whatever the, or maybe give the same name. Yes, and Vivo created the code for the world library. You can see here is the world library. Similarly, if you want to, here we have 158 references. You have now 158 references here also. So if you click this, you will go to all the document. Yes. So we can see, or we can unselect wherever we want to. Uncode. Yes, uncode. You can uncode. Yes. So now it will decrease one reference. Now it is 157. Go back to other words. So whatever the words you want to make any nodes, you can make the node, and you want to see the sources which most frequently discussed topic is there. For example, management, you can create the code for management, or if you want to reconfirm, you can go and you can assign the code after reading the text, maybe library management or whatever. So this is another way of creating the codes, but there can be some error or maybe out of context. At least you can identify the sources which discuss some relevant context. Then we have a text search query. For example, based on your research questions, you want to see where library leadership is discussed in your interviews or in your PDF literature. So you can search the term, maybe more than one word we can search. For example, I will write library leadership. When you have multiple words, you can write in inverted commas. So now it will search library leadership. If you do not put in quotation, it will search maybe each word. Like it will also search where library only discuss, where leadership only discuss. We can run the query. For example, we can select where we want to see this. Maybe interviews. So you can search different contexts, different kind of queries, different kind of words, multiple words. So these document has this library leadership. For example, if you can click any of them, you can see. Yes, I click. Now we will see. Yes. I will search again. Yes, go back to word cloud. Yes. So whatever you query search, like in that case, we search library leadership. It gave us the document which discuss this library leadership. You can select the article or you can select those document. Then you can see the word cloud, like whatever the word is in big font. So it has more references. If you click, you can see this leadership, the other word professional, like that, because the interview text is not in, it is in the same language which we conducted the interviews, that was not in English. Then you can see the tree map of those concepts, then cluster analysis, it will show and as a cluster. So word cloud will give you the what important where this topic or this search term is available, and what are the most frequent words. They are in larger font. And of course, you can create the code. You can create this export word cloud. This is top frequently word. Another interesting thing is that after that we can do the coding for other kind of data, like for example, if we have audio or video or image or any kind of this kind of source, we can create coding for them. For example, I will capture some kind of audio video file. For example, I maybe have some video. Okay. Okay. So I will click import. Maybe this is very old file, maybe it is not working. So I will select another file. Yes, audio, video, and images we can import via file. Maybe any picture we can import, or this is some song, just or maybe we have some image here in sample image file. Picture, maybe we can take some picture from here. Yes, this image is now with us. We can double click this image. Yes, so we can select the image and we can do some coding. Yes, we can code as we auto code to recent code the whole picture. Yes, we can assign different kind code, like create new code. We can give its newspaper. So we can assign the code to different kind of images. Then of course we already captured some kind of web page data, like University of the Punjab. So we can create code for web page. Like for example, this is the page we already captured via the NVivo. Same, you can capture the tweets or social media, some other content, no problem. For example, here.
So, Dr. Shafiq, like we have another 3 minutes to 4 minutes.
Yes, no problem. I will quickly.
You can wrap it up. Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you very much. So for example, this is the text we created from some web page via the NVivo capture. We can create code for them. We can go to code in vivo. Code in vivo, it will assign the same name. Yes, under the coding. Yes. So now we have all the codes. Similarly, if you want to extract your Facebook data or Facebook of any social group which you want to compare, you can go to your Facebook and you can open your Facebook or whatever the Facebook of some political party you can want to analyze their content or trends, you can capture via this NVivo. Similarly for tweets. So after the coding from different kind of sources, the next we can do some kind of visualization. We will go for, yes, these. Now I will open this project. Yes, I will open our project, and now we will do some more further analysis. So different kind of map charts we can create based on our codes. Yes, we have to go to explore. Here we can run text search, word frequency, query, chart, hierarchical chart. For example, we will go for chart. Based on our coding, we can create chart. For example, we will go next. Whatever the theme we create will give us some kind of visualization of our code. We can create code for one of our research questions or one of our major theme, or maybe the whole, but it is good to create for each research question separately. We will click next. Here we selected coding. I think it is, I have to close it. Yes, okay.
Dr. Shafiq.
Yes, yes, just
Yeah.
1 minute, sir.
Okay.
I will
Yeah.
finish it. Yes, coding. Yes, coding for a file, coding for a code. We can select here the code. Maybe we have some maybe internal challenges I will create for this. Then finish. Yes. So for example, we have this one of our research questions about the internal challenges which library leader face. So we different kind of code we created based on our intro text. So it gave us beautiful visualization, different kind of challenges we can create. For then another very important visualization is map. We can create the map of any of our major themes.
Dr. Shafiq, I think so. We need one more complete session to understand these basic concepts.
This is very important and very interesting. I need 1 or 2 minutes only. Just
okay. Okay.
This will be the last. We have to go this our analysis explore option. Then we have to go to the map and then project map. We can create project map. We can give this some name, for example, library leadership. I will go quickly. I will create. Then we have to add project items, mean we have to assign the themes, relevant themes related to this. So I will select add project items. Yes. So I will go to my codes. Then I will yes, I will select only, for example, external challenges. I will click OK. I think I need to select again. It did not selected the sub options like codes. Yes. Yes. So we can unlink attribute connectors and we can select some layout from here, maybe hierarchical. So it will create for all of our theme, sub-theme. We can select for all of our project or we can select for only one of our theme, major theme one by one. So it will give us. So keeping in the time, I just want to close. I just try to give in the overview. It's very big software. So just within the 50 minutes, I try to finish the some important aspects. So thank you all for all of you for listening me.
So
I
thank
will
you.
send you all my papers where we apply this NVivo software and some helpful videos and other resources. I will email to Dr. Nosheen and she can later share all these resources with all of you.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Sure.
thank you, Dr. Shafiq, for your very very know-how things, the kind of things we are expecting from the workshops, like the very technical things, so that at least we could get to know each other. And the moment I was watching this video, it seems to me qualitative research perhaps like the easy things, the way it resolves everything. You're just taking snap from the websites, taking snap from the video and images, and how it extracting the text from that part. It seems to me like amazing. So at this moment, before asking questions from the audience, I have just one question. What is the subscription price for the annual fee, as well as Nosheen said, it's like free version. Does the free version offer the
Right.
subscribed version as
Trial, Dr. Saab, tell us about
Yes.
trial version of this software.
Yes, trial version is available for 15 days and some is 6th or 7th version of NVivo we can download from a crack version. So legally 2 weeks is a sufficient. So what we can do, you can recommend your institution to purchase for that, because for researcher nowadays it is very difficult to invest on this. So we can incorporate it in some of research project. The price is different for individual lessons, different for academic or business sector or for organizational. So it is I think more than 600 US dollar. So I will share the link of all the prices, no problem, along with but the price is very. Sometime we requested them that we belong to developing country, we don't have too much budget, so sometimes they give some discount for developing countries. So it is better to request this via through your research project funding or through your institution. Institution can purchase maybe 10 or 20 license and you can get from your institution. It is more convenient.
But Dr. Saab, please tell them that you have copyrighted version and you have purchased from your project money. Please explain this point to all audience.
Yes, our university give us opportunity for funding projects. So in funding project, we requested our university, and university is very generous and very kindly allow us to purchase this software. So if you have this one license, you can install it to one in your laptop and one in your PC. So one in office and one at home. And it's another version is collaborative module version, and there is very interesting transcription version. If you have audio or other text, it will transcribe in different language. multiple, all major languages there, and you don't need to transcribe. And its collaborative cloud module is also there. You can work with your other colleagues. Some can do coding, some can do analysis. So its collaborative version is there. So I will share the prices and other details, inshallah.
So is there any questions from the audience part? You can type it up there or can ask this question directly to the Dr. Shafiq.
Yes, there is one question in qualitative analysis. The nature of data is usually subjective. What should be the method to check the reliability and validity of data by in vivo? There are multiple methods. You know, if we know the qualitative research, there is one concept is triangulation. So in theoretical aspect, we can apply the triangulation. In vivo, we can review our codes, and maybe one or two team member can do the code, and then they can share their codes, and we need to review that whether whatever the coding we did, uh, we properly apply the coding, and is there any mistake of understanding. So this is the method which we can through in vivo. And in vivo you can analyze your data with the help of your maybe PDF, and some analysis of maybe your interviews you can analyze separately. Then in at the end you can compare whether the things coming through your intro text or your literature or maybe another source, maybe your observation, it is the same result or different. And Vivo give you the facility, you can analyze and explore the data separately. For example, separate for interview, you can run the queries or analyze. And maybe if you have open-ended questions, you can compare this. So in that way, we can ensure reliability and validity. But it is not the same which we ensure through factor analysis test and Cron badge alpha in quantitative research. It is the subjective, and this is the beauty of qualitative research, that it give the subjective approach. So there is no generalization purpose of qualitative research. So I think subjective is the beauty of qualitative research.
Okay.
Thanks, Shafiq. I have a question. I really enjoyed your presentation, and you inspired me to use NVivo in the future. So if I decide to use NVivo, I'm going to reach out to you for collaboration. Okay?
Inshallah, I will be available, no problem.
So my question to you is, you showed us all the great features of NVivo, the advantages of using NVivo. Based on your experience of using NVivo, can you share top 3 drawbacks or limitations of NVivo?
Yes, the first drawback is that it's a price version and a high price. Secondly, if you want to have a multiple comparison, you have data of maybe like interviews, then you have some quantitative data. So I give them the suggestion that there should be options that you can compare your survey results with this qualitative analysis things. So this is also a drawback. Secondly, there need more features in vivo. For example, we need to explore in depth our data in text, and also maybe some other kind of theoretical models. There should be we can drive some theoretical models through the help of NVivo. Currently, there are these kind of features are missing. They are working on new models, but still, you know, in qualitative research, this software is not as friendly as we are used in quantitative research. In quantitative research, you know, we have very sophisticated analysis. You can it gives you that the data is result is significant or not. All these things can help you to stay organized, and but again the researcher has to decide whether the something is supporting or not. So less work is on the part of researcher in vivo.
Thank you.
And also it required some powerful system requirement, and currently they recently launched its Mac version, and collaborative version need more effective collaboration, like maybe if I subscribe this and the other person can see same time, and they can collaboratively discuss and refine their data. So in collaboration version they recently launched, there need more feature of collaboration should be there in NVivo collaboration. And in transcription modules of NVivo, you know, there are many shortcoming of machine translation. Same are available in NVivo transcription. You need to reconfirm manually also. So we cannot rely 100% on the software. This is a tool. We need to reconfirm the context and the things with the help of primary data. So researcher role is again very important in analysis or in other kind of things related to qualitative data analysis.
Devendra, I want to add one point. In my PhD thesis, back in 2010, I used manual way to analyze my data, thematic analysis and content analysis kind of things, and do it totally manually. After that, in 2016, I conducted a couple of studies with Bibi Roresa, and I used the trial version of NVivo. I explored its different feature, and both paper got published. But although I'm not a qualitative researcher, but my conclusion is that we can't like dependent on software as we depend on SPSS or MOS or other things. We have to use like our own decision and things like these are only partially helpful tools. And I only like the graphical images that Dr. Shafiq draw at the end of presentations. Like graphical presentation, parent and child nodes are comparatively impressive to make paper fancy. Otherwise, I have to work in both, like I'm basically working on quantitative things. That's why I'm like, I did qualitative research, but my experience is as a novice qualitative researcher that it is like not very user friendly, or I'm not comfortable to using it. We have to use our own brain and own perceptions to use it.
These are true for all other, you know, NVivo is not
biased,
only.
this may be biased opinion.
No, Dr. Nosheen, I totally agree with you that NVivo is not only software for qualitative research. I explore other kind of qualitative software 3 or 4 years ago. Like there is a software Atlas TI, there is a Max QDA. So there are 3 international software. All have limitation. So they are partially helpful, and but they can save the time. You can organize different data. You know, you have a lot of data. Maybe for literature review, if you have maybe more than 100 articles, so at least it will save your time. You can focus on the things where your primary or core article is there. So we can take some help, but it is not as helpful as quantitative softwares are.
Thank you, Dr. Shafiq. Like, as we are going out of time for the schedules, like we've been engaged for the last 2 hours. So I thought all the audiences get enjoyed a lot. So now I'm inviting Dr. Nosheen, like for the closing remarks of today's workshops. And by hand over these sessions to Dr. Nosheen, I am leaving these sessions for a while. And Dr. Nosheen, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Anwar. Dear workshop participants and resource person, good evening and greetings from Pakistan. I know it's morning in USA. I'm Nosheen, Director Institute of Information Management. I, on behalf of SIG-III, would like to thank all of you to attend this workshop on how to employ theories and analyze data for publishing LIS research. I believe these sessions would help you to conduct your multidisciplinary research projects by using both quantitative and qualitative designs. I especially thank Professor Devendra, who shared his experience of getting published in top-tier journals by using interdisciplinary theories and models. I liked the way he effortlessly explained the concept of research question, testing hypotheses, and mathematical equationing in exploratory research. He emphasized the role of theoretical contribution. I always ask my student about it, but he focused that so what question is very important in research, and it is hard to like understand many of researcher. Moreover, he discussed the thematic coding, conceptual content analysis, grounded theory analysis, and make these terms easy for us and understandable. Thanks for Dr. Devendra, thanks for motivating us to conduct interdisciplinary research and collaborate. I would also like to appreciate Dr. Shafiq Ur Rehman to introduce us to qualitative data analysis software, NVivo. He practically demonstrated to set up a new project, NVivo's workspace, create and navigate around a project. We learn to enter, access, and read data along with creating nodes, coding, searching, parent and child nodes, tree maps, cluster analysis, word trees, and new models. Thank you, Dr. Shafiq, for like this comprehensive session. And last, but the most important person in all the process is Dr. Anwar. Thank you, Dr. Anwar and his team, Paul, Raj, Bhakti, and me, to conduct successful series of workshop. I'm hoping this practice, rather tradition, will be continued by new SIG officers. I encourage all of you to join ASIST and specifically SIG-III as member and officer for the next year, as we are celebrating its 40th anniversary. Thanks all. It's always wonderful to meet and interact with all of you. Looking forward to seeing you at another event. Thank you so very much for attending us and giving your precious time. And once again, thank you for our resource person. I learned a lot. It's a very like interactive and helpful session. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope so all the participants learn new things and enjoyed these sessions. And Dr. Anwar, please continue this tradition in future.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Nosheen. And finally, what I like to definitely Devendra, me, and like other guys here who did join here for the workshops would like to give thanks to Paul, because he was the person basically who took all the technical difficulties on his shoulder, because we had faced some technical problems for these workshops, but successfully Paul handled all those things. Paul, thank you so much for your support and cooperation.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul, for your prompt reply. Like you replied our email like instant messaging. Thank you so very much for your time and your efficiency. Thank you. Thank you.
So, thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Stay safe and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Bye.